Vancouver's Pan-Pacific Hotel played host today to Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper and Trade Minister David Emerson, who took advantage of a UBC-sponsored conference to trumpet their vaunted Asia-Pacific Gateway and Corridors trade initiative. This massive federal infrastructure and economic strategy, in which BC's own regional gateway program is to play a central part, is designed to secure a leading role for Canada in the growing global marketplace. But many scientists and community groups in British Columbia have concerns over the potentially catastrophic environmental impacts of this initiative, and are demanding that their tax dollars be invested into sustainable alternatives such as public transit.
Today, efficient gateways and corridors are indispensable for any country that competes in the global economy. Canada's Asia-Pacific Gateway and Corridor Initiative encompasses all modes of transportation. It involves the ports of the Lower Mainland and Prince Rupert, the major road and rail lines across Western Canada, our key border crossings with the United States, and all major Canadian airports. In fact, the combined funding in our first two budgets, plus our extended GST rebate for municipalities, will provide $33 billion, all new dollars, for investment in infrastructure over the next 7 years.
Canada's west coast, as we've said many times, is strategically positioned, thanks to God, nicely between the North American marketplace, I like to say the heartland of the North American marketplace, and the economies of Asia. And our goal is to make the gateway an efficient and globally competitive transportation and logistics system so that Canada and Canadians can reap the benefits of this tremendous comparative advantage.
There were also hints today of some as yet unannounced additions to the Gateway Initiative, which could suggest a change in federal policy towards supporting some contentious elements of the BC Gateway program, such as the twinning of the Port Mann Bridge and local widening of the Trans-Canada Highway.
Today, I'm pleased to announce that we have reached decisions on 10 more projects that will be funded under the Asia-Pacific Gateway and Corridor Initiative. 6 are located in British Columbia. The details will be released in the weeks ahead by Minister Emerson and our BC government partners. So I'm not going to steal your thunder today, but I can tell you that the projects will greatly improve traffic flow on several major roads and rail lines that are integral parts to the gateway transport system. Both shippers and residents in communities throughout the region will benefit from these improvements.
On a day when the environment was rarely mentioned, euphemistic references to streamlined environmental assessments and a Fraser River maintenance program whose stated goal is to accommodate larger vessels will likely only heighten the fears of the local scientific community.
We're streamlining the environmental assessment process, and together with port authorities taking action to protect and improve the local environment. We will be making a substantial contribution to the Fraser River Channel Maintenance Program that ensures deep-sea vessels can access our ports.
Often invoking the memory of past prime ministers who made their mark building Canada's trade infrastructure, it was clear that Stephen Harper intends to make the Asia-Pacific Gateway Initiative the crown jewel of his own political legacy. Something that may prove challenging at a time when the environment has become the #1 issue among Canadian voters.
Now at the dawn of the 21st century, no country in the world is better positioned than Canada to prosper in the emerging global economy. The potential of our great country truly knows no bounds. And obviously, the Asia-Pacific Gateway is at the heart of that vision. Over 100 years ago, Prime Minister Wilfrid Laurier famously predicted the 20th century would belong to Canada. I submit to you that he was right, just a century too soon, and now it's up to us to make his prediction this century's reality.
When I later spoke to Minister Emerson, he initially claimed that expanding highways would lead to a decrease in congestion-related greenhouse gas emissions. But when I pointed out that there's in fact no historical scientific basis for this argument, he seemed to change his position somewhat, eventually conceding this.
The freeway issue is that when you build new freeways, they do attract new traffic, and over time that accommodates more traffic and doesn't take traffic off the road.
For the record, That's International Trade Minister David Emerson admitting that more roads will mean more vehicles. The fact that close to half our total greenhouse gas emissions come from vehicles makes the following claim hard to justify.
We think that technology, investment, good strategic planning going forward is consistent with a good environmental program. We'll get our greenhouse gases down, but we'll do it in a way that doesn't slam the economy to the disadvantage of an awful lot of Canadians.
Despite their assurances to the contrary, it is still unclear, in practical terms, how this government plans to serve both the Gateway Initiative and their new green agenda. While they've given the environment much political lip service of late, today all signs pointed in a different direction. The lack of any meaningful environmental context in this discussion left no doubt as to which policy objective is driving this Prime Minister and a Conservative administration that continues to reject Kyoto for purely economic reasons. While growing masses of Canadian voters undoubtedly share Stephen Harper's concern for the future, they may just have a little more on their minds these days than global supply chains and trade infrastructure.